Is the West more dependent on Africa than we thought? As African nations impose export bans on Western countries, it's becoming clear who needs whom. The West is feeling the pinch. What's the strategy now, and which countries have led this movement? Let's find out. For decades, Western economies have thrived on the assumption that Africa will continue supplying cheap raw materials to fuel their industries. Oil, gold, uranium, lithium, and other resources from Africa have powered everything from technology to transportation in Europe and North America. Now, however, Africa is reasserting control over its resources. 10 African countries have imposed strict regulations on the export of these raw materials, retaining value domestically and driving local economic growth. This shift is shaking global markets, forcing Western countries to reckon with a reality they hadn't anticipated. Africa will no longer function merely as a supplier for the world. This move is more than an economic policy. It is a significant assertion of Africa's sovereignty. By deciding how, when, and to whom they export their resources, these nations are challenging a system that has long kept them disadvantaged. Historically, African resources were extracted and exported cheaply, processed elsewhere, and then sold back to African countries at a premium. This cycle has prevented Africa from benefiting fully from its wealth, making it difficult for these nations to develop robust, self-sustaining economies. The new export restrictions signal a profound shift in how African leaders view their role in the global market. Number 1. Ghana's gold restriction. Ghana, one of Africa's largest gold producers, has taken a decisive step to control its gold resources. New regulations now require that mining companies operating in Ghana sell 20% of their refined gold to the Bank of Ghana. This policy is a strategic move to help Ghana build its gold reserves and reduce reliance on foreign currencies, which have often left the country vulnerable to external economic shocks. By holding more of its wealth within its borders, Ghana aims to gain greater financial stability and independence. For decades, Ghana's gold was exported primarily in its raw, unrefined form, with much of the value being captured by foreign refineries and companies. The new policy changes this dynamic, requiring foreign mining companies to refine a portion of their gold within Ghana itself. This decision is about more than economics. It is a challenge to a system that has long dictated that African resources be exported with little benefit to the originating country. But why should a country so rich in gold have to rely on foreign currencies to stabilize its economy? This question goes to the heart of Ghana's new policy. Western economies and industries have for years benefited from the gold they obtained from Ghana at discounted prices. By enforcing export restrictions, Ghana is signaling that its resources will no longer be available to subsidize foreign economies. Western industries, particularly those in the jewelry and electronics sectors, are feeling the effects. As the cost of gold rises, these industries face increased expenses and shrinking profit margins. Ghana's policy is a message to the world that the era of cheap, unrestricted African resources is over. Ghana is now reclaiming its resources and ensuring that its wealth supports its economic growth and stability, rather than being siphoned off to enrich foreign markets. Number 2. Uganda's agricultural shift. In a transformative move in 2021, Uganda implemented a ban on exporting raw agricultural products, including coffee and tea. Uganda, a top coffee producer, recognized the economic disadvantage of exporting raw beans, which foreign companies could then process and sell at a premium. By focusing on exporting only processed goods, Uganda is keeping more of the value of its coffee within its borders. This shift is helping to build a local processing industry that creates jobs, increases revenue, and strengthens Uganda's economy. Why should Uganda's farmers put in the labor to grow coffee, only to see the major profits go to foreign corporations? By addressing this imbalance, Uganda is setting a new standard for the agricultural export market. The government has been investing in local processing infrastructure, such as coffee roasting facilities, to add value to the crop before export. This change challenges the global coffee industry, which has long relied on low-cost raw materials from Africa. Western coffee companies, accustomed to buying cheap beans from Uganda, are now faced with either paying higher prices for processed coffee or finding alternative suppliers. This disruption impacts not only profit margins, but also the supply chains of companies that have come to rely on Uganda's affordable exports. By moving up the value chain, Uganda is claiming a stronger economic position, reducing its dependency on volatile international commodity markets and ensuring its coffee profits benefit Ugandan workers and businesses. The impact on Western companies highlights the broader shift in Uganda's economic approach. This policy challenges the long-standing assumption that African nations are there to provide raw goods to more developed economies. By asserting its right to process and profit from its resources, Uganda is showing that it can stand as an equal player in the global coffee market. This shift is transforming Uganda's role from supplier to market participant, positioning the country to benefit from its natural resources fully.